Hi, Shelley from Wendell Middle School Library again. Our students at Wendell Middle School Library, they use the copy categories in Follett Destiny to help them find books, but many of our records lack these copy categories. What I've found in working with adult students who are training to be librarians is that you're really good at determining basic genres for a book, like mystery, horror, humor, adventure. But because this is a remote correction program, you have a tough time determining the differences between picture books, chapter books, graphic novels, young adult, and what we would classify as general fiction. This tutorial will show you how to determine a book's copy categories without actually having the book in your hands. Let's start with the features of picture books. Picture books always have 32 pages. You can find this information on Amazon. In our library, these pictures are not found in the fiction section. They have their own easy reader section. So if you discover that you're looking at a picture book, please contact me and let me know that we have a picture book in the fiction section. And then lastly, picture books have more pictures than text. That's why they're not chapter books. They're not young adult, they're picture books because they have more pictures than text. When you're looking at the cover art for a chapter book, it may actually say chapter book on the cover. Chapter books are about 50% pictures and 50% text. You may be able to discover that it's a chapter book because of the description on Amazon, AR Bookfinder, or Library Thing, or even in the Library of Congress. But if you don't see any clues like this, please don't mark a book under the category of chapter book, because that can limit which students will be checking it out. Graphic novels used to be called comics, but this is a misnomer because they can vary in topic from humorous to quite serious topics. Manga or Japanese style anime stories in paperback form are often classified as graphic novels. A graphic novel uses dialogue bubbles paired with graphic images. If they appear in your shelf list, please send me an email because they need to be shelved in a different part of the library. Children at Wendell Middle School range in ages from grade 5, which is about 10 years old, to grade 8, which is about 14 years old, but can be as old as 15. There's an enormous difference in the types of books a typical 5th grader reads and the types of books a typical 8th grader reads. How do we let parents and students know that a book has some mature subject matter? We classify the book under the category of young adult. Books in our library are marked as young adult if they have excessive violence, like Hunger Games, if the theme of the book is kissing or romance, like Twilight, if they deal with gender identity or sexuality, like Love, Simon, or if they have swearing. Even Huckleberry Finn falls into this category. The thing to remember when classifying a book young adult is this. Ask yourself, will any parents of 5th graders find it troubling for their 5th grader to read it? If the answer is yes, maybe, then mark it young adult. There's an old trick that many librarians use as well. If an animal dies, it's a middle grade book. If a parent or friend dies, it's probably young adult. Another tool we have to help us decide which age group is ideal for the book, if you look on arbookfind.com in interest level, this book about Captain Awesome shows that it's for lower grades. This book called Awkward says middle grade, and that's ideally grades 4 through 8. And then when we see Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, which is the book version of the movie Love, Simon, it says upper grades. That would be grades 9 through 12. So AR Bookfind will help you determine if a book needs to be young adult, but it may not help you with whether or not it needs to be classified as a chapter book. Notice the topic subtopic section though. This can help a lot, and it also has a section for whether or not this book falls under fiction or nonfiction, and that's super helpful. This might seem like a no-brainer, but all works of fiction, whether they're young adult, graphic novels, chapter books, they are all classified under categories as fiction. Since 90% of our books are middle grade books, we don't include that classification. Rather, all works of fiction are just classified as fiction in the copy categories section, which you can see right here. If you can add one or two other copy categories, like adding animals, if the cover art and description imply that it's about animals, that will help students who are fond of animals to find the book. But if you can't even guess about the book's theme, just mark it as general fiction and move on. That's what I do with this one. The description of this book wasn't really helpful, as you can see here, but it is going to fall in the category of fiction.